Hey, welcome to another edition of the Scott Hamilton Show, and we are getting closer and closer and closer to the college football playoff quarterfinals. They're almost here, and it seems like it's been forever since we had those opening round games on campus just, a little over a week ago, week and a half ago. It seemed a lot longer. The break seems like it's been forever, but here it is. It's right around the corner, and we've got some fantastic matchups really going to help power us through this holiday week and get us to the semifinals, and then we'll crown a champion in 3 weeks. But a lot of news away from the field. The coaching carousel starting to settle down. Kyle Whittingham, now the head coach at Michigan. We know Matt Campbell's headed to Penn State. They're solidifying their staffs, assistants moving all over. But they're also moving around at places that aren't making head coaches or changes at head coach, rather. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal because that usually means there's been an issue at those programs. Well, obviously, they're not in the college football playoff. The college football playoff has become the end-all, be-all with regards to college football. If you're not in it, then you're falling behind. And I'm specifically talking about Clemson. Clemson making some changes on its coaching staff in the wake of not only losing the Pinstripe Bowl to Penn State, which going through a coaching change, but really just a disappointing season. One of the most disappointing seasons probably in the history of Clemson football. I'm sure somebody could do a deep dive and really figure out where it stands with regards to that. But let's take a look at the headlines. And again, Clemson leading off this. And you can see right there, top of the headlines, those quarterfinals. Just a huge, huge week of college football. I am excited for it. I love these matchups. I think that there's an upset in there somewhere. I do know that. There is an upset in there somewhere. I just do not know which one. If I had to put my life on it, I'm tending to lean towards this Miami-Ohio State game. Something about Miami. I think Miami matches up well personnel-wise. Will be interesting to see how Ohio State does with Ryan Day calling the plays rather than Brian Hartline. Brian Hartline now the new head coach of South Florida. But Ryan Day's an elite play caller. He was the play caller before he became the head coach. But will he be able to juggle both duties? That could be a deciding factor. And then if Mario Cristobal, the head coach of Miami, just gets out of his own way, that could go in Miami's way. But we've got that game on New Year's Eve. It's 8:00 kickoff, I believe, on the Cotton Bowl. And then New Year's Day, we have the Orange Bowl, Oregon versus Texas Tech, Rose Bowl, Alabama versus Indiana. And then the Sugar Bowl, Ole Miss versus Georgia. And I have to think that Lane Kiffin, a.k.a. Joey Freshwater, probably will be in the building. It's not a far drive from Baton Rouge to New Orleans. He can't help himself but to attract attention. Have to think that he will be in the building, the Superdome, for that game. I'm sure we could put a bet on that. I bet Kalshi, one of those prediction sites, I bet they have, will Kiffin show up? Will he not show up? I would put money on him showing up. But here's the news I was mentioning, and this is really probably the biggest news in college football, honestly, given that the carousel has settled down and that the actual games have yet to be played for the finals of the college football playoff. It's Clemson making that change at offensive coordinator. Garrett Riley gone after 3 years. He's got 2 years left on his contract, $1.75 million a year. So he'll get, 3.5 total? That's pretty good. Pretty good not to work. And it's got some offsets to it. If he goes and gets another job, then the difference is paid out, yada, yada, yada. We're not getting to the contractual lingo. But bottom line is he underperformed. Just underperformed. Clemson averaged 27.2 points per game. That was 70th nationally. That's not good for the old job security. I'll say that. Just wonder where they go from here. We've got Will Vandervort of Clemson Insider joining us in a few moments. We'll get his take on what went wrong with Garrett Riley as the offensive coordinator at Clemson and maybe get an idea of what's next. Does Dabo, did he already have somebody in mind? Is it going to be a situation where you get an offensive coordinator and a quarterback? Cade Klubnik's out of eligibility, and honestly, probably needs an upgrade from him anyhow. Incredibly disappointing. He was a Heisman Trophy contender going into this season, had started for 3 years. You probably could do better. There's some good dudes that look like, or quarterbacks in the portal right now, or going to enter the portal. The portal hasn't officially opened yet, transfer portal, who I have to think Clemson would be just tickled to death to get, assuming they go that route. Dabo would have to swallow his pride and reprogram his thinking to go get a quarterback in the portal. And is there a quarterback in the portal who has an offensive coordinator also wanting to move? And you get that whole deal together. Something to think about. But the bottom line is this, though. Looking back before we look forward, Garrett Riley was just incredibly underwhelming and unproductive. 29.8 points a game his first season, 2023. 24.7 in 2024. That was 18th best in FBS. That's solid. That's solid. But this year, that 27 points, and never really seemed to have an identity, to know what they were wanting to do, what they were wanting to achieve. It was just always sort of just like a game-by-game proposition. Who are they? What are they? What is it they want to do? Just never really seemed to gel. And there's question, in my mind, was it a situation where the quarterback didn't match the offense, or the offense didn't match the quarterback? Did they try at any point to compromise and it just didn't work out? I don't know. It's one of the things we'll ask Will Vandervort of Clemson Insider when he comes aboard. Here's something else too, and I think this is a big deal. This is equally big. Not Garrett Riley big. Well, probably. It depends on how you look at it. Mickey Kahn coaches the safeties, also the passing game coordinator. He got fired too after 10 years on the staff at Clemson with Dabo. And he's one of Dabo's boys, man. I mean, they went to Alabama together. They coached together. They played together. I mean, he's gone. And let's face it, it didn't work. It wasn't working out his last year anyhow. Clemson's defense, 119th in passing yards allowed, giving up 251 a game. But the big takeaway from this is that it's only the third time since 2011 that Dabo Swinney has fired a position coach. And there's so much we can unpack from that. He's showing a willingness to evolve, maybe realizing that loyalty only goes so far in this business, because it's a result-driven business. It's not a loyalty-based business. It's not about having your boys around. What will happen from this? I mean, and will Tom Allen's son, who essentially was coaching that position for the duration of the year, or at least running the passing game, Tom Allen, the defensive coordinator, will he step up and take over? That'll be one of the things we'll ask Will Vandervort shortly when he joins us. But one thing is certain, this is going to be a huge offseason for Clemson and for Dabo Swinney. Can't have this repeat again in 2026, because we're getting farther and farther away from the glory days of Clemson football, that 2015 to 2020 run where the Tigers made the playoffs each and every year. And I know it was powered by generational quarterbacks, but still, the expectation there is to go back to the playoff. They went to the playoff last year. Granted, it was a 12-team playoff, the first year of the 12-team playoff. And granted, they backed into it because of that just monster kick against SMU in the ACC championship game. But not going to the playoff again, not competing for an ACC title, barely squeaking out a winning record, that's got a lot of people uncomfortable. Especially as things start getting more dicey between the ACC and the other power conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten. And then Clemson joining Florida State with all the legal rigmarole of the off seasons and all that, and then to go out and fall on your face. Optics are horrible. These are some of the things we'll discuss with Will Vandervort when he joins us in a few moments. One thing, though, before we go to the break, Tiger Woods, 50 years old today. 50 years old. If you want to feel ancient, if you want to feel like you need to reserve a spot in a nursing home, wrap your mind around that. Tiger Woods is 50 years old today. And it seems like just the other day that he had the whole Hello World introduction to professional golf. I think it was in Milwaukee. And then in 1997, just going out and reinventing the game, it seemed like, at Augusta National, just running away with the Masters, and just all the accomplishments and the expectations and how he influenced so much on the course, away from the course, in business, in culture, in pop culture. Just absolutely phenomenal. The Tiger effect is a real thing. And I always call it, any time Tiger was playing, it wasn't a tournament. It was an event. I called it Tiger Palooza, and I had boots on the ground for a lot of those. And I've been to some big events. I was at Augusta this past year, Rory, that whole deal at the Masters and wrapping up the career Grand Slam and all that. That was significant, but nothing has ever come up close to Tiger Palooza when it was full blast. Tiger Palooza in the early to late 2010s, maybe like 2009, right before he hit that tree, right before, on that Thanksgiving night before Thanksgiving, and all the naked bodies fell out, or Thanksgiving night, whenever it was. I think it was 2009, and all the personal baggage started being unpacked. It was something, man. It was something. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I mean, think about this. Has any other athlete been more influential in their chosen sport? The only ones I can think that are comparable would be Babe Ruth in baseball, Michael Jordan in basketball, but those are team sports. It's not apples to apples. It's not a fair comparison. Tiger changed an entire sports culture, opening it up to minorities, bringing forth just droves of other people. Well, look at the business of golf. People were opening golf courses on the backs of what Tiger was achieving. They were drafting off his popularity. People wanted to start going out and playing golf. So the golf courses are popping up everywhere. Nike got into the golf equipment business because of Tiger Woods, and I don't think it's a coincidence that when he started really, really, really having the health problems around 2016, before the car crash, but after the whole jacked up leg thing at the 2008 US Open, that's when Nike shuttered its golf division. That it stopped making clubs, it stopped making balls, and it said, you know what, we're going to go back to what we do. We make shoes and we make apparel. They had other guys who played those clubs, but Tiger was the one. He was the one. He moved the needle, or he was the needle, really. I've heard that said repeatedly. I do not think it's a coincidence that they happened to shut down that division right as he stopped playing regularly, and they could kind of see that this was going to be the way it was going forward, that he would play here and there because his body was breaking down. We might never quantify his total impact. We might never be able to fully sit back and just really, really be able to point out everything that he touched directly or indirectly. Caitlin Clark, for all her greatness and everything that she's done to elevate the WNBA, again, a team sport, not apples to apples, still won't come close to Tiger Woods. There's nothing even close to it. And now the thought of him, Lord willing, if he's able to play, if he's able to walk even, I mean, God bless him, playing on the Champions Tour, what a proposition that is. And you have to think that the people in Ponte Vedra at the PGA Tour, they're just beside themselves at the thought of Tiger Woods showing up at Champions Tour events. What does it do for that league? I mean, that league was basically created for Arnold Palmer. I believe it was 1980, in order for him to continue playing and they could continue to leverage his popularity. But for Tiger to go play it, I'm in. And you wonder what those guys on tour, when he shows up, what they're going to think. I mean, let's assume he's semi-healthy, and you got all the guys that were his peers before who thought they were finally done with him, and they look back and go, oh, God, here's Tiger. He's back. Oh, I hope he plays. But right now, I'm more focused on college football. We got the college football playoff quarterfinals coming up in the very near future, and we got a lot to chop up regarding the Clemson Tigers. Will Vandervort of Clemson Insider joining us on the other side. Stick around.
Golfers, IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It, and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there.
Hey folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tomstown, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka, named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tomstown, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hello, folks. Let's talk a little bit about turf life. And what is turf life? It's pretty much if your life involves turf in any way, shape, or form, you live the turf life. Go ahead and brand yourself with the turf life. Maybe a back window decal, maybe a hat. You know where you can get those kinds of things to showcase that your life revolves around sports and or anything that involves sports. If it's a sports business or sports education or just your enjoyment of the outdoors, head over to turflifeclub.com. Become a turf head. Join the club today. You can do that by going to that said website that I just told you to go to. You can snag your window decal like I was talking about, or any of your other turf life accessories. Show everybody that you live the turf life, and we'll see you there over there at that turflifeclub.com.
Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505.
Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
And again, big news out of Clemson earlier this week. Garrett Riley fired as offensive coordinator. Again, that wasn't a big shock, but Mickey Kahn, kind of a surprise, maybe a surprise, sort of not a surprise. It's definitely not in Dabo's normal playbook. What do these changes mean now? What do they mean for 2026, and what could they mean going forward? We're We're going to ask our buddy Will Vandervort of Clemson Insider. Will, thanks for coming on. And I guess the first question is a pretty easy one. Are you shocked by these moves? Are you surprised even a little bit?
No. We actually reported back in December. We reported first of all, we reported back in November there was going to be changes in the coaching staff, and then in December we felt good about the information we had, that we knew Garrett Riley was not going to be coming back in 2026, and we felt good about putting out that Mickey Conn wasn't going to be back in 2026 from what we heard. So not surprising to us that those two names were announced yesterday by Dabo Swinney. And so, now it's about what they're going to do next, I guess. I think we got a pretty good idea what they're going to do with the Mickey Conn situation. But the Garrett Riley situation, there's a lot of things, a lot of reports and stuff like that about who could be the candidates and stuff, including what we've reported. And, so we'll see how that goes. I think we're going to know pretty fast here, though, Scott. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I have to think that time is of the essence. Let's work this Mickey Conn angle first, because I think this is the most fascinating one, because Garrett Riley had only been on staff 3 years and things had gotten progressively worse. Mickey Conn, the defense, specifically the passing defense, he's the passing defensive coordinator and safeties coach. They was bad, but this is a guy who had been on the staff for a decade, and that's not really Dabo's modus operandi to cut bait with somebody like that who's been with him that long. Correct me if I'm wrong, Will. Only the third position coach that he's ever fired as the head coach of Clemson. Is that right?
Let's see. Yeah, it would be Thomas Austin, and then I guess I guess you're not counting coordinators.
No.
So Thomas Austin, Mickey, and who would be the third? I'm trying. My brain is not working with me. He could be just a second if you're talking position coaches.
So it's a rarity. I mean, it's a really big thing for Dabo to do this. And I know we can't really speak for Dabo, but kind of put yourself in his mind, though, of how difficult this was for him and how he wrestled with this decision. And you referenced earlier, we kind of know what the direction is. Kind of elaborate on that a little bit if you can.
Yeah. So, first of all, like you said, it's unusual for Dabo because, first of all, Mickey and Dabo go back to his college years. When he was, him and Dabo were roommates in college at Alabama. They played together on the national championship team. And then they ultimately coached together when Mickey was the graduate assistant and Dabo was already an assistant coach at the time. So these two guys have grown up together in the business. When he got the opportunity to come to Clemson back in 2016, and, he left over there, a great program over in Georgia where he was the high school coach and, won all kind of games and, was one of the top coaches in the Class 5A over there in Georgia, over at Grayson High School. He moved over and as an analyst, and then, started working with the secondary that next year in 2017 and became a full-time coach at that point. And early on, I thought Mickey did a good job, Scott, if you go back and look at some of the guys, he's coached, he did a good job, because these guys weren't superstars. They weren't like Christian Wilkins and Cleveland Farrells over there, but, he did a good job with Tanner Muse and Nolan Turner, made those guys All-Americans. You look at a guy like Kayvon Wallace that plays in the NFL, another guy, RJ Mickens. Those are guys nobody ever thought had a chance to play in the NFL, and they became NFL players. So he's done a good job with developing players for the most part. But this year just was, and even Andrew Makuba was ACC Rookie of the Year his freshman year at Clemson. So he's done a good job developing guys and, a decent job in recruiting. But he is, this past year, they just weren't very good, man. And you heard Dabo several times come out and call the secondary out with the busted coverages after the Duke game, after the SMU game. And, Dabo talked about how it's poor coaching. And so, I think he knew a move needed to be made. Like the message just wasn't getting there anymore with Conn, and maybe he lost some of his coaching. I don't know how, I say coaching. What I mean by that is, maybe passion or how he coached things, maybe that changed. We don't know. We're not out of practice field every day. Right. So now as far as the possible who could be changed, who could be replacing him, I think it's going to be Thomas Allen Jr., who during the season, Thomas Allen put in there and said that Thomas Allen Jr. had moved into that role as the passing game coordinator, if you will, from a communication standpoint. And Clemson actually was pretty good those last few games when he was doing that. Now, they didn't look good against Penn State, but when they made this average quarterback look like the Heisman Trophy winner in the Pinstripe Bowl. But again, there was other factors in that too, with all the guys that were missing in the game and stuff like that. So I mean, that kind of all plays into it. But regardless, they didn't look good. So yeah, I think that's where they're at with that position. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Thomas Allen Jr. move up and get the promotion and get that job.
It's fascinating. I mean, you bring up some really interesting points. I mean, was Mickey Kahn burned out? Was he disinterested? Was there some kind of other rift that kept him from
what
coaching?
changed? Yeah.
What changed? Well,
Right.
and I'm wondering this, Will, and you can speak on it as well as anybody. I mean, did they kind of, and maybe it was Mickey's own fault. Maybe it was a collaborative, failure. But when RJ moves on, they don't really restock. They didn't go to the portal to get a guy. I think they only have one safety in the 2026 class.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, they decommitted.
So they've they've got a converted wide receiver playing defense or playing safety, don't they? Didn't that happen at some point?
Yeah, with
during the year?
Hannafin, Ronan Hannafin. Yeah.
So I hate to lay all this at the feet of Mickey Kahn, but at the end of the day, he's getting paid big bucks to do that.
And he's the safeties coach. He's got to recruit. That's his position, right?
He's got to recruit. We're joined by Will Vandervort of Clemson Insider. And Will, just a couple more minutes. And while the Mickey Kahn situation is notable, especially, in Clemson and for Clemson fans and so forth, the Garrett Riley one is one that really resonates nationwide. I mean, Garrett Riley has that last name, brother of Lincoln Riley, up and comer, really coveted offensive coordinator. When they got him from TCU, they were coming off an appearance in a national championship game. Didn't work out, even with all that experience they had coming in this year. You were constantly around the program all year. You've been around the program since Garrett Riley arrived. Why didn't it work? What happened to keep Garrett Riley from connecting and delivering the way that they had hoped when they hired him 3 years ago?
I just think that his system, first of all, I don't think they really had an identity this year on offense. I mean, can you tell me one thing that you could point to and say that's what they did really well and that's who this team was? Could you do that on that offense? Like,
no, you absolutely couldn't.
Yeah, like on the defensive side, you could point to the run game and say they were a really good run defense. That's where and they did tackle better, finished second in the country and fewest missed tackles. So you could point to the defense and see an identity on defense, but you really couldn't point to the offense and see an identity, whether they could run the football, whether they passed it. They didn't do either really well. And so you just didn't know what this team was offensively this year. And I think that was part of the problem. And, I would say like the reason it didn't work was I don't think they had the right personnel, to be honest with you, at all times. I think he had the quarterback and I think he had some of the wide receivers, but I didn't like the way they used the tight ends. They didn't really use them. I think Clemson's wasted some really good, talented tight ends the last couple of years just by not throwing the ball to them in key situations. And when you look at, and I'm not really kind of bashing Garrett here. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what I saw. And like when you look at big games, like did he really, Texas? Yeah, maybe you could say the Texas game, but like look at the LSU games and the Georgia games. Didn't look good at all, right, in those games. And from a play calling standpoint, right, there was no fluid in the offense. There's just no continuity. They really never got going, got in a rhythm. Right, in those big games. Look at the Louisville game last year.
Right.
Didn't really look good, and so there was those games where they just had hiccups like that. And I just thought there was never any continuity within the offense during his tenure here. And I think ultimately that's what Dabo Swinney saw too. And when you don't have continuity and you don't have something that you can say, this is what we do best, and you can go to it, then what do you have as an offensive coordinator? You know, like, okay, one of the guys that's a candidate, right? We list as a candidate is Monken, Todd Monken, right? Well, we all know what Todd Monken does well, right? He runs the football well, and he knows how to use a mobile quarterback and how to get the ball downfield and use the play action. That's his thing. That's his signature, right? I just didn't see a signature with Garrett Riley in these 3 years in this Clemson offense.
How much of it, though, was personnel? Because, and I referenced this yesterday, we had Larry Williams on yesterday from Tiger Illustrated, and basically Cade Klubnik has been Dabo's ride or die for 3 years. We've known that. I'm wondering how much of the Garrett Riley failure, for lack of a better word, was because the quarterback wasn't aligned with the system. I mean, was Cade involved when they hired him 3 years ago? Well, I mean, I doubt he was consulted, but maybe. And then how much of the offense was maybe massaged to cultivate, or to appease Cade Klubnik's unique skills? Or was it just a fit of a quarterback not matching a system, and that's where it fell apart?
I think there's something to that. I really do. I never really thought Cade Klubnik fit that system. When you go back and look at how it's been used in the past, Cade Klubnik really wasn't the guy you kind of used that for. They didn't run him the way they ran other people, like especially what he did at TCU in that national championship run, and how they used their quarterback in the run game. I mean, he used him sort of in 2024 where Cade had 600 yards, but still not to the level they used the other quarterback at TCU in it. And I just thought, like, you know, that from at least a quarterback standpoint, I thought there were times when Cade just didn't look like the quarterback for this kind of offense. Cade fits still more like a pro style quarterback to me, and this wasn't a pro style offense. And I just think it wasn't a good fix. And I do think that was some of the issues. And then let's be honest too, Cade would go rogue from time to time.
Yeah.
You know, he just do things on his own. Hey, let me hand the ball off to, the 6'9" Peter, the 6'4", 350-pound Peter Woods up fullback when he's supposed to hand it to Randall, or let me keep the ball on the last play of overtime and see if I can outrun the linebacker to the end zone.
Yeah.
Or
throw a screen. I'll throw a screen on 3rd and 20 or something.
Yes, I'll throw a
Down
screen
around
on
the goal
3rd and 20. Yes, Cade went rogue a lot, and that's who he was. And I think, you take the good with the bad with that, because there was some good he did when he went rogue too. We probably just didn't know it as much. There was some we did know, but I just think overall, I think probably part of it was that there was just that those two just didn't mesh as a quarterback and play caller together all the time, in my opinion.
My last question for you, Will, the $1 million question: does Dabo dip into the portal for one of those quarterbacks?
Man, why are you trying to steal my story tonight? Come on. My column tonight's about that. Come on, Scott. What are you doing?
Well, I was going to ask that was my next question. I was going to ask what you were working on. So go ahead and fill us in there. Give us a little tease.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on. So I think, as important as the offensive coordinator is, I think the quarterback's more important. And the reason I think that is because, they got to open up the season at LSU. And do they have a guy now on that roster where you feel good going to Baton Rouge and coming out of there with a victory with one of those 4 guys? No, you don't know what
Lane Kiffin's first game too.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin's first game. You just don't know what you're going to get out of it, right? And I'm just like, they got to really do something. And it'll be interesting to see what they do when they go into the portal here, which, by the way, they're going to jump into the portal. So does Dabo have a guy in place when he goes into the portal, like maybe with a handshake agreement, saying, here's my offensive coordinator. It's not official yet, but here's the guy we're going to hire, blah, 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 right? And he could tell a quarterback, does he go in and tell this quarterback this was going to be? Or does he hire a coach that maybe leaves a program that has a quarterback that might follow him? That's out there too.
I like that. I like the handcuff deal, and it didn't work out great at Oklahoma, but it was working out really good before Mateer hurt his hand.
Yes.
I think that's the way to go. What was it, Arbuckle and Mateer?
Yeah.
Then Arbuckle.
And right now I'm thinking of Bell and the quarterback at Pitt. as you know, he's been listed as one of the candidates. We've heard he's a candidate. There's smoke there, and if he were to come down, we know. And I can't say the Pitt quarterback's name. I'm not going to ruin the kid's name. I got a long name.
Eli. I'm with you.
Yeah, let's just don't do it. We're writers for a reason, right? If he it's already been published out there. Like, he says that's his coach, and he only came to Pitt because of him. And Bell had to sell Narduzzi on him being his quarterback. So we'll see if that stays. If he leaves and say comes to Clemson, does that quarterback come with him? Because if you're Dabo and you got one of the hottest young quarterbacks in college football at your disposal, don't you go ahead and just pull the trigger there and make that move and do it?
Yeah, especially a guy who's got some experience already, who can come in and have a little weight to him, have the other guys respond to a dude who's actually made it happen before, at least in some regard, instead of having a guy who's never really had starting experience.
Yeah, and let's be honest, Bell has done a good job at Pitt where he's adjusted to his personnel. Did that at Western Carolina as well. He adjusts to personnel, and so if he's got playmakers at receiver and stuff like that, and Pitt threw the ball a lot this year and we're really good at it, right? But they couldn't run the ball, save their life, because the running back got hurt during the season.
Reed.
Reed. But last year, Reed was one of the top running backs in the ACC.
Yes, he was.
So, see, he's done both. And if you're Dabo Swinney, you like that. Now, you want to do both in the same season, but you got to like the fact that you see this coach who's gone out there and shown he can adjust to whatever personnel he has and still make his offense electrifying.
Biggest offseason coming up in the history. I'm going to say in the history of Clemson football. I'm going to throw that out there because I think they're at a nexus where they can go back to where they were a few years ago, or they can fall further behind, and catching up will be really hard. It's definitely the most impactful offseason since Dabo's been coach. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
And it's going to keep you very busy. He's Will Vandervort of Clemson Insider. Follow him on X, formerly Twitter, at Steeler Will. Will, I know you're busy, man. I appreciate you coming on, but we're going to get you back on very soon.
Absolutely. Hey, buddy, when you do the thing, you say X. You just do this. Is what I do in my podcast.
You just do the X.
Yeah.
You're the man. That's Will Vandervort of Clemson Insider joining us. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Close up the Scott Hamilton Show.
Golfers, IndyCar Tim here. I want to talk to you a little bit about Golf Central Magazine. It's not just a golf magazine. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Head over to golfcentralmag.com and check out the latest issue. Some of the regular features in Golf Central Magazine: the Golf Bachelorette of the Month, the Golf Bachelor of the Month, the Golf Cart Girl of the Month, Golf History, Grip It and Sip It. So head over to golfcentralmag.com. It's free. It's the magazine for everything: turf, travel, philanthropy, and lifestyle. Golf Central Magazine at golfcentralmag.com. We'll see you there.
Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Today's show is brought to you by Tomstown, a premier craft distillery based in Kansas City, Missouri. Discover their award-winning lineup, including double oaked bourbon, botanical gin, and double grain vodka, named the best craft vodka by the readers of USA Today. Available for online delivery in 40 states. Visit toms-town.com or their Kansas City distillery to explore more. Elevate your game with Tomstown, where history meets innovation. Please enjoy responsibly.
Hello, folks. Let's talk a little bit about turf life. And what is turf life? It's pretty much if your life involves turf in any way, shape, or form, you live the turf life. Go ahead and brand yourself with the turf life. Maybe a back window decal, maybe a hat. You know where you can get those kinds of things? To showcase that your life revolves around sports and or anything that involves sports. If it's a sports business or sports education or just your enjoyment of the outdoors, head over to turflifeclub.com. Become a turf head. Join the club today. You can do that by going to that said website that I just told you to go to. You can snag your window decal like I was talking about, or any of your other turf life accessories. Show everybody that you live the turf life, and we'll see you there, over there at that turflifeclub.com.
Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505.
Orion Golf Management Solutions. Orion Management Solutions has tailored its service packages just like it tailors its approach to customers. Some owners need more supervision, while others need periodic assessment of their short-term and long-term strategies and programs. Orion can be called in to develop a business plan with the existing staff, or we can assist with the daily management of a facility or event. Either way, we make sure the client is satisfied and understands the direction the facility needs to go in order to achieve the owner's goals. Orion Management Solutions can help with owner assistance service solutions, daily course management, business plan development, monthly operations, or as-needed consulting services. Whatever your need, Orion Golf Management Solutions can help. Check out oriongolf.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
I want to thank Will Vandervort for joining us. Will brought up a lot of really good points. I can't wait to read his column, by the way, on the possibility and the proposition of Dabo dipping into the transfer portal to get a quarterback and all the different scenarios that might play out as part of that. I mean, what a pivot that would be. And what a statement it would be. I think it would be a good statement myself. I mean, yeah, it would require Dabo to swallow some of his pride. But at the same time, I think it would speak volumes about his ability to adapt and his ability to focus on what's good for the best of the program, for the betterment of the program. It's great to say you want to be a developmental program. It's great to say that this is how you're going to do things, like you've always done them. But at the same time, you've got to be able to keep up. You've got to be able to adapt with each era. Nick Saban, greatest of all time because he could adapt to each era. I think back, the prime example showing Nick Saban's ability to adapt was when he decided he had to go up tempo. He had to get a mobile quarterback. He had to do all these things to speed up the offense. And he goes and hires Lane Kiffin, of all people, to be his OC. Turns around, they win a couple more championships. So I know he finally walked away when he was tired of adapting. He didn't like the direction it was going in, and that's fine. But prior to that, he had adapted. Mike Krzyzewski, the greatest coach of all time, maybe any sport, throw that out there. He adapted over 40 years. He went through the traditional era, when guys came in and played 5 years and yada, yada, yada. They had a red shirt. He went through the one and done phase. He had those guys. Think back to Trajan Langdon and those dudes coming in at the end of the NIL era, right at the very end of that, or the beginning of that, rather. Just his ability to adapt, to change his style of play, to adapt to the kids, to different mindsets, to different times we're going through. That's the mark of a great coach. And Dabo should look at it like this. This is an opportunity for him to one, he can still defend his thinking. He can still defend his values and say that it's a developmental program first, and it's about developing young men and developing guys, to go off and to be able to handle success away from football and to be able to handle failures away from football. That's great. But at the end of the day, it could also be a statement showing that he has the mental wherewithal to be able to adapt and to realize and change. Because another mark of a good coach, halftime adjustments. It's kind of like a halftime adjustment. He should approach it like that. They have to be able to adjust and do things on the fly as things go. Will he? Don't know. But we will learn more about him as a head coach during this offseason than at any other time in his coaching tenure. Mark my words, more than any other time during his coaching tenure. And what happens this offseason will directly impact what happens next season and every season after that, at least in the near future. Make of that what you will. I want to thank Will Vandervort again for joining us. You can follow Will on Twitter/X at Steeler Will. And don't forget, College Football Playoff Quarterfinals. We've got Ohio State and Miami on New Year's Eve. Then we have the 3 other games on New Year's Day. They're going to be lights out, and we're going to preview them all here. Cannot wait to get to it. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you again.